world is a rainbow with many kinds of colors. Yellow, black, white, and brown. See them all around. The world is a rainbow with many kinds of people. It takes a kind of people to make the world go round. You be you, and I be me. That's the way we're meant to be. But the world is a mixing pot. Just look what happens when you stir it up. The world is a rainbow, many kinds of people. It takes all kinds of people to make your sight to see. The world is beautiful when we live in harmony. What's already up? La 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 la. Now you be you and I be me. That's the way you're meant to be. But the world is a mixing pot. Just look what happens when you stir it up. The world is a rainbow, many kinds of people. It takes a kind of people to make your sight to see. The world is beautiful when you live in harmony. Hey, la 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 la. Hey, la 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 la. Hey, la 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 la. Hey, la la la. Welcome to the Pokey Show.
Today, we have a very special guest on our show, Tony Demings, owner, operator, and founder of the Brooklyn Coffee Tea House in RhodyWood. Hello, Tony, and welcome to the Poking Around with Pokey show.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. Honored to be here this evening.
So what have you been up to with the Brooklyn Coffee Tea House and the RhodyWood independent films?
Well, Brooklyn Coffee Tea House and RhodyWood is kind of a branded name. It's co-branded, and modern technology today says you've got to shut off your phone. There we go. What we're talking about mostly is the RhodyWood, how RhodyWood came into being. It came into being by, I says, what am I going to use for a name? Rhody. Rhody was independent filmmakers. They are roadies. They carry their own work. Rhody, Rhode Island. That works out too. Rhody, Rhode Island. I need independent. The independent man on top of the State House. So hence, RhodyWood Independent Films came into being. We do a lot of shows. We do a lot of, for actors, casting calls, site locations. We're basically behind the scene house. We provide a platform. Well, once a month we do have a RhodyWood film critique night, and what that means is local filmmakers from the South and Eastern New England area will come and bring a short film, and they get critiqued on it. They get up on the, we call it the hot seat, and they talk about how great they are, how great their film is. We watch their short film, and then they get up on the hot seat, and the audience and fellow filmmakers will critique the film. It's not that they're trying to badger them, but they tell them about the good things about the film or something that may want to edit, because a filmmaker a lot of times doesn't see what the audience sees. And after we have the critique night, that's where it all happens. The magic starts coming in. The magic meaning is they get all done and they just socialize. It's a big word, networking. The networking is fun. It's just magical what they do. But what they really like is getting it up against the screen. We call it a class photo. And they said, well, what do you mean class photos? So you got to stay for the class photos. So all the filmmakers that are participating in the film critique night, they get up against the wall. We have what they call a scrim. A scrim is like when you're watching footballs and all the football players or the movie stars get in front of a screen. It could be anything football related. In our case, it's our RhodyWood logos keep repeating itself. So they all love to get up against the screen. You know, we even, they have dogs that come on interviews, or musicians that come on interviews for background, or scorers. They look for, or behind the scene, they're looking for a crew, cast and crew, DP, like you're doing right now filming. It's a big operation when you're doing a film. People just think it's the actors, it's what's going on behind the scenes that also. But getting back to the acting, we pre-screen them on the first floor, the actors, if they come in. We also do, we also use our property, RhodyWood, for film shoots, site locations, whether it be in the studio or outside. They want aerial shots, they want ocean shots, they want wood shots. Rhode Island is just gifted entirely for films. But RhodyWood is not just in Rhode Island. We are a national, international registered trademark name. Presently, we have 21 RhodyWood states and 6 countries online on Facebook. And the 6 countries is Canada, Brazil, and Europe online. And that's a platform where people can come in and they can monitor, they can talk about their movie, themselves. It's a great opportunity for them to cross from one state to another. Then I guess what we also do, there's a film festival coming up next month. I believe it's from the 19th to the 23rd. It's called the SENE, SENEFEST.com. And it's a great film festival for Southern New England. It's the Southeastern New England Film Festival. They call it the Festival of Music and Art. And the Southeastern New England Festival not only does films, we have a music event, and they show artwork there. So you're not getting filmed out. There's 100 films in those 4 or 5 days being done. Now they have, this year they have 6 venue locations, and the RhodyWood studio is one of the locations. We will be screening, believe it's on a Wednesday the 20th of April, and Friday the 22nd. We'll be showing a full feature and shorts on Wednesday, and I believe on Friday will be a full feature and the short, and the filmmakers from wherever they are, I don't know what state they're from or what country, they will be there on that night. And it's a good thing. We encourage people to come in. We also encourage the audience. People don't realize a lot of times technical. We do a lot of technical, but we ask the audience to come in because the audience is the one that is buying the films, not the filmmakers. They're your competition.
Could you tell us something about the children of the asylum?
It's a story about how I found out who I was. You know, I was raised in an orphanage for the first 7 years of my life. And after 60 years, I found out who I was. And I'd like to bring it either on a stage production or put it on a PBS, where I'm trying to work it out on a PBS program that can go national. Mostly a lot of it is for people in foster care. They have foster children or they just got adopted. A child is a child is a child. You know, back in the 40s, I was a child. And of course, in the 90s, 2000s, they're a child. They still have the same emotion. The state quasar, orphanage, or whoever it may be, may have different ways or different values of doing it, but a child is still a child. And same reaction, yes. It follows you right through your life. I was chosen. I try to tell people, biological, it's who chooses you. It's the same thing when you get married. You get chosen. You know, that's, you seek out, you try. Your core value is there, but you can't, you should respect your history, your tradition, whether you're American Indian, whether you're European, come to America, we're all a melting pot. You respect your past, but you don't let it guide you. You don't let it be all of you in the future, because if you do, you don't move forward. You respect the past, but you move on also.
What was the most significant scene for you in The Children of the Asylum?
It's the emotional value of seeing my friends go away, because when you were in an orphanage in the 40s, you're in a dorm style with 6 or 8 beds in a room, and you get attached to your little brothers. My little brothers, I call them. They're not my brothers, but that's all I knew. I was raised there from 6 days old, so that was my home, no matter what. They were my little brothers. When they go away, there's an emotional scar that carries me, because even to this day, if I'm emotionally attached to somebody, I know it's only borrowed, because eventually they're going to go away. That's part of life. And eventually I will go away. That's part of life. But I don't want to cloud anybody, because I know people eventually go away. So what you try to do in life, you do the best that you can. You don't own somebody. You just guide. You just go with the life, and you respect people for their values.
Are there any events scheduled to take place at the Brooklyn Coffee Tea House or RhodyWood Films?
There's several of them. There's several of them. The best way to do it is to go on RhodyWood.com, go into the calendar section. Since we're co-branding RhodyWood and the Brooklyn Coffee Tea House, if you go on the Brooklyn Coffee Tea House, you'll see a calendar, but it's empty. But it'll direct you to the RhodyWood calendar. Just go on the calendar, click on it. And besides music, besides films, we do baby showers, we do bridal showers. We have done everything in between. There's a new thing happening in the meetup groups. It's called the board games. People are getting tired of the electronic games. So it's starting to be a rage. And the Brooklyn Coffee Tea House is hosting a lot of board games happening.
So how long has this been going on?
That just started about 6 months ago. I mean, you have to evolve in life. Like, if you've been to the Brooklyn Coffee Tea House or RhodyWood Studios, and really it's nothing more than a stage, because every time there's an event, every bit of furniture in that room, because it's not that big, has to move. But that's all part of it. You know, you have your customers, you set up to your customers' need as much as you can. We have the big screen we use. We have a small screen. We have a lot of workshops that's going on, a lot of acting classes that happen, music workshops, and you have to change the mode. You have to set up. Now we have a widescreen TV, and we have to have HDMI, and every 2 or 3 years the cable connections change. You have to keep up with modern technology, or you're not there anymore. But the good thing about the Brooklyn and the RhodyWood is the building's 1873, and contrary to what a lot of people think, new is not always great. The people in the young age and the old age seems to enjoy it because the palette has some kind of calming effect on them. And you've been in there many times before. There's probably an aura. When you're in an older building, it does have, there is a feel in an older building. Call it spiritual, whichever you want. Call it just the oldness of enjoying it. But it does. There's a character, and a lot of people call it character. It's a character that you enjoy.
You also spend a lot of time and energy working in your yard.
No, it's an oasis. And how that evolved, it has a little water garden back there. And any rock I could find, that was a little wall we would use. I think when you work off a very low budget, you have to be creative. You know, there are a lot of older things. Nice to put in a nice swing set, or it's nice to put in nice patio furniture. But when you start searching for a find, F-I-N-D, that can be good. a lot of places in Newport, they have these antique shops. They call them, this is a find. So what you think it looks like a piece of you-know-what, I wouldn't pay you for it. They're beckoning $2,000 for a table, a wooden table with, like we got an old wooden table that's 200 years old. It has porch legs under it. But a lot of people think it's a find. So it works out well.
Didn't you make some interesting snow art rather recently?
Yeah, last year we had a major, I think it was last year or the year before, we had a major snowstorm. So what I try to do as an artist, it's kind of a wall. It's like a 2.5, 3 foot wall when you shovel. So you're shoveling away and you create this wall. And I decided to say, well, let's make a banquette. And a lot of people, a banquette is like a half circle area where you sit. You see those in the old restaurants. So I made one out of snow. And then I brought a table out and we sat out there and I had one person have hot chocolate on there. So I'm creative. And then a lot of times, instead of doing a sidewalk with conventional sidewalk with shoveling straight, I will let it go curve. I curve the sidewalk 100 feet. I'll make it go this way and that way and that way. And even in the driveway, if it's a light snowstorm, I make a checkerboard pattern out of it. And what I'll do is I'll shovel this way, I'll shovel that way, and then I checkerboard it. That's the crazy part of me being an artist.
There is another question I have for you.
Oh no, oh no, oh no.
Are you still doing your artwork?
I started my artwork in 1991, pen and ink, and I sketch on a pad a lot of times. One day I just did it. I was going through a very low time financial-wise in my life, raising my children. It was hard. Financial was hard. So I got into the arts. I started drawing. A lot of times I draw for the flag, I call it. I would just give away, meaning for the flag is you give away your drawings. But then people wanted their homes drawn and given as a gift. One particular one was I drew a home for somebody, and the wife says, my husband's dying. And I says, oh. She says, I want to give it to him as a surprise. But the house had a porch on it. I said, okay. She says, can you put the porch on the house? Well, I knew the age of the house was 1890. It was a 2.5-story house. I put a porch on it. And she presented to him. He just cried and cried and cried. I had a value on it. I had came at the same time. I brought it framed and all. I couldn't charge him. That was like a $350, $400 draw. I couldn't charge. So I gave it to him as a gift, and shortly after he went on to another life. But I do draw a lot of things. I draw bridges. I love bridges. I love ships. I'm very nautical. There's a nautical background in me. And I love homes, to draw people's homes. Can I get commissioned? Blueprints, I do it the old-fashioned way. I do the blueprints by hand, because today most of your blueprints are on CAD system. That's electronic. And drawing it by hand just gives me a better feeling. And a lot of times contractors will hire me when I go out to the site. The customer is asking one direction, how they want it, but for some reason the contractor can't relate to it, so I'll start sketching on their kitchen table. And they'll say, that's what I like. I said, okay, they sign it. It's actually a legal document when you have artwork. Because normally now what contractors do, they'll take a picture of the kitchen. I'll use the kitchen as an example. Take a picture of the kitchen the way it is. And then I'll draw it the way it should look. And then they sign it, and then they take a picture of it after, which comes very close to the drawing. So it stands up in court. That's been used, my artwork has been used in court, and it's been registered in the town hall on the deed of records.
What was your first drawing?
First thing I did was draw the Brooklyn, because I was going through a change in life. I think that's why being raised in the orphanage and the value of losing people, you constantly go back and forth over a bridge. And I think that's what my life is all about, crossing bridges. So hence I drew the Brooklyn Bridge. I figured, well, if everybody's selling the Brooklyn Bridge, maybe I can sell a Brooklyn Bridge too. But it was more of a, emotional value So that was my first drawing of the Brooklyn Bridge. And then I did the Point Street Bridge. I've done several bridges. Ships. My life is part of coming and going. So the ship is also coming and going. The bridge is you're going from one end to the other. But I do homes. I do gardening. I design gardens. I design building structures. I just like doing those things. I've always liked the imagination, taken from people's mind, putting it in my mind, on my hand, to the paper. It has a value that people can relate to. And what's considered a good drawing? I can make the worst drawing in the world, but if you listen to somebody and someone says, geez, I remember that tree, my father planted it. Well, do I draw the house? Of course I draw the house. But do I draw that tree? You're damn right I draw that tree. I draw that tree the best that I can. That's the focal point. Someone else will look at it and say, oh, it's a house, but there's a tree there. But to that person, that's the most valuable artwork to them. And that's what you do. You listen to people. You listen to what they are, their comfort zone is. And that's the story in your life, too. You've got to listen to people. The Almighty made 2 ears and 1 mouth. And the mouth means you have 2 ears, you listen twice more than you speak. I don't know, well, sometimes, you got to practice what you preach. Sometimes I'll go off the other end. And I think we all go through that sometimes. You have to listen. If you don't listen, if you're always into yourself, and it's what you don't say sometimes, and you know it, the body language sometimes. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Well, body language itself is worth 1,000 words. Well, you learn that, and I think I've learned it from the orphanage because I didn't have aunts and uncles when I was raised from 6 days old to 7 years old. Your personality, they say, some say 2, some say 4. Your personality is established when you're a child. And I didn't have aunts and uncles. I had to listen to the nuns. I'd go outside and play. And there were no people, there were no relatives, so you listen more. Well, you're forced to listen at that time because you had to be somewhat structured. When you're in an orphanage, you're somewhat structured. But doesn't mean that I'm structured, even though I went through military a lot. I am a typical artist. Don't pin me down. But I can focus to different people. There are times I can just shut myself off. And shutting myself off doesn't mean, not speaking. It means I can just look at something. I can just sit and I can focus. Some people call that, help me out with this, yoga. They do meditation. I don't call it meditation. I can completely shut myself down. Emotionally, everything. I'll listen to you. If somebody's talking and I don't like what's going on, I will listen to you, but in my mind, I can shut you off. I don't know. Maybe that's a Gemini in me. I'll listen to you, but I can shut myself off. But then turn myself back on when need to be. And breathing space don't mean you have to leave your element. You can be right in your own element, in the corner of a room, a closet. You can be in the bathroom if you want. We have a big bathroom. I could use a bathroom if I want. And in closing, one thing is very important. If you are feeling real bad about yourself or the environment or your work, and you cannot afford to go anywhere on vacation, the simplest vacation you can do is go outside, sit in a lounge chair, and look up. Is not the sky blue on expensive property, on vacation, or at home? You look up, you look at the sky. That sky is the same whether you're in a depressed area or you're in a good area. It's all the same. We're all under the sky. And that's how I look at it. Nobody's better than you or someone else. Nobody's better because we're all under that sky umbrella. And that brings me down to the basics, makes me feel comfortable when I look up and I come down and I'm back. Because we don't look up, we always look horizontal. Everything in life is horizontal. Sit back in the lounge chair, look up. You swear you're at the ocean, you can imagine you're anywhere in the world or nowhere.
Do you have any films in the makings?
Oh, my agent's not here, No, I'm not. No, my first film I was For Their Own Blood. I was a mantic priest. I was defrocked from the church in the film. And they took me out, and I was living with somebody that had previously married, and they had got divorced. I didn't like myself, and I wanted to die. But it was my first film, and Chris Fata, F-A-T-A, he was starting off in the film business in Fall River. He now works in L.A. He does internet commercials. He's doing very well. So I owe everything to Chris Fata in California, because without Chris, I wouldn't have got that bug of doing films. But I'm more now, as you age, it's like a lot of actors do. Robert Redford and all. A lot of times you go behind the scene because you never get old. When you're behind the scene, you turn into a director, you're always young. So it's time to go behind the scene. But there are cases where people don't realize I'm in my upper years, but there's still a value for older people on camera. People don't realize that. But most of the time when they want me, either I'm going to be a manic person, I'm going to probably rip off your face on screen, or I'm a passionate person. Doesn't seem to be any in between with me. But I'm a loving person, but sometimes my body language can throw out a little message.
What was most significant scene for you in the movie you starred in, For Their Own Blood?
There was a significant scene where I had just found out that my brother had died. And a social worker came up to the door, and she's banging on the door. And she says, let me in, I want to talk to you. Your brother died. And I'm banging, I'm on the other end of the door. I'm leaning against the door, and I'm banging on it. I'm banging on it. I said, he's not dead, he's not dead, he's not dead. The vein just popped, the emotion popped. And what a good artist will do, will take that energy and bring it to a core. In my case, the core was the orphanage, because I lost a lot of people. My adopted mother and father and my two sisters are gone. And you bring that value in. And that was probably one of the best scenes I did for a reel, because it was R-E-A-L. It was real. It wasn't acting. If a good actor can bring that emotional value, capture it from his or her different scenes of life, and bring it into themselves, people don't realize it, but less is better. Less is said. The emotional value. If you scream, does it help? When you're raised in an Italian family, adopted family, screaming is like this. It just comes in one ear, goes out the other. You don't listen to it. But with my son, what I used to do, I'd say, Michael, I want to tell you right now. I lower the voice. What, Dad? What, Dad? He would listen. Because lowering your voice can mean that you're just as mad as screaming. And sometimes even more. You lower the voice, and my son would go like this. What, Dad? What, Dad? He doesn't want to miss out on anything. And that relates on the screen too, whatever you do in life. You act all the time in your life, don't you? You get up in the morning, you look in the mirror. Okay, do I want to shave today? Do I want to put I can't do that with mine. Do I want to get my hair going? Do I want to dye my hair? So what you're doing, believe it or not, you're going on the stage right now. The stage of life, it's called. And you get up, you walk out that door, you say, okay, this is what I'm going to do today, this is what I'm not going to do today. You're setting your genre every single day. And I look at life as acting. Every time I'm here, I'm confined over here, and I don't mind, but I'm acting right now in a sensitive way. It's not, I don't mean to use this interview as an acting, but you have to develop your core. You have to establish your core. So acting is like a core, whatever you do in life. When a filmmaker says, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, you have to set yourself into that scene, wherever it may be. And you do that every day. So I found it to be for myself, I found it to be very natural. Probably being a Gemini, I can go left, I can go right, and whatever I want to do. I like acting. I would love to act on stage. I never had the opportunity to act. I think I probably will soon. Another phase of my life. The whole world is a stage, and we're all part of it. I'm taking that from a quote from somebody. The world is a stage, and we're all part of it. People don't realize it. It's a world. It's a cycle. What we think is invented, what we think is new, is not new. Technology, we think technology is new. You're still going to go around a circle in life. No matter what you do, it's a circle in life. You enjoy the ride as much as you can. To me, life is a ride. You can make it good ride, or you can have a bad trip.
So, Tony, thank you so much, Tony.
And I enjoyed this interview, and I want to thank you for pulling some of my energy out and make me, do certain questions. You have a way of doing it.
Are you going to come back sometime and revisit our show to let us know how you're doing and what you're up to?
I may surprise you. Yes, I may come back. I may come back as a different person. You never know.
I hear that you're considering the possibility of launching your own public access TV show.
Well, I want to have a public access on Children of the Asylum. It's an orphanage movie, and I'd like it to go PBS all over the nation because it is a docudrama, and there are not orphanages as we know today, but there are group homes that are like orphanages, but this film can go all over the world where there are orphanages. And everybody thinks the word orphanage is bad, but when they had Katrina the hurricane, that displaced thousands of people. Children were displaced. Well, so where do you put your children? There are not enough group homes or foster homes to put that many children. So you want to keep Johnny or Sue together, you may have to have, in an emergency situation, a form of an orphanage. You learn from the past. I was raised okay in the orphanage. There was a lot of problems, but at the same time, there were just as many problems in the biological family that you don't hear about as much. But I want to thank you. I really enjoyed this interview.
Tony, would you mind very much if I was to show our viewers the movie The Children of the Asylum here on my show on public access?
I would like to show it on the public access because the public access channel is more focused on the story of life, where a lot of your TV shows are CGI. It's quick, it's fast. What I do not like on a movie is when the shots are constantly shifting. We're being interviewed here and it's one frame. And I think a lot of the movies, they're losing that because they want to shift. Even music videos, they're constantly shifting the camera back and forth. And I actually get, I call it car sick when I'm watching some movies because they're constantly shifting the image back and forth. People got to learn to calm down a little bit.
Tony, I want to wish you luck with your future public access show.
I think I'm going to come on your public access show more so. I will try. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate being on your show.
Thank you so much, Tony, and I wish you well with your involvement with the Southeastern New England Film Music Arts Festival coming up on April 19th to the 23rd. I hope a lot of people come out of their homes and spend some time to help you critique some of these films. It's good to be a part of things that are going to be out there. I hope the audience can appreciate all that you are doing and they get involved.
And we know you'll be coming to the show.
You bet I will.
Thank you.
Tony, I wish you well with your involvement with the Southeastern New England Film Festival. And I hope to see you on our next show to talk about your life story. Okay, here is The Children in the Asylum, and we hope the audience enjoys it as much as I did.
Mama, did you ever love me? Papa, did you ever care? Close my eyes, I feel your presence. When I blink, you are not there. smiling, lying in a soft white bed. Papa beckons in to kiss you, lover's eyes with words unsaid. Children of the asylum, wondering, not knowing why. Speak to them or give them answers. Mama, can you hear my cry?
Hi, how are you? Come on in.
Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Good, good.
Hey, Tony, how's it going?
If I was any better, it would be illegal. Oh, yeah. Hi.
Good.
There you go. Just the way you like it.
Thanks, Tony.
Well, you charge extra for that balancing act?
How do you think I balance my books? Hey! Hey, excuse me! You forgot your muffins.
Thanks, Tony.
Tony? Are you Anthony Demings?
Yes, I am, but nobody's called me that for years.
These are for you. Anthony, they'll take you home.
Home? I am home. I live upstairs.
Oh, Anthony, you'll understand much better after you read the letters.
Who are they from?
Your destiny.
These letters are from 1946. It's from my mom. It's from my mom. It's from my real mom. My dearest Anthony,
My dearest Anthony, I'm trying to make the best of things, but it isn't easy. I love you so much, I can't stand it. And I'm not that far away, really, but I have to go. I can't bear the pain any longer. I have to leave. I hope in time, my beautiful son, you will be able to understand.
Good evening, everyone. We'd like everyone to know how very proud we are to perform our music here for you at this wonderful USO ball. Relax and let the music get inside of you. Have some drinks. Unwind.
Make my body quiver. Send shivers.
Excuse me. My name is Officer Stevens with the United States Navy. May I ask your name?
Joyce Marchetti.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Joyce. I've just returned from a long time at sea, and, well, it would be my pleasure to... I'd like to ask if you'd like to dance with me.
Well, then ask me.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Very sorry about that. Would you like to dance with me?
Yes, I would like to dance with you.
Who are you looking for?
Oh, nobody. Just my sister. She's...
Oh, well, I'm very glad you said yes.
I'm very glad you asked me to dance.
You're welcome.
Let's not think about anything else tonight, okay? Just let everything float away.
Sounds perfect.
Okay.
With one touch, oh how I feel. Please never go away. be the one that I adore, so divine, the love we make.
How are you feeling, Joyce? Any nausea?
Why, yes. How did you know?
Well, the news is confirmed. Congratulations, Joyce. You're going to have a baby.
No, this can't be. Oh, Robert. Robert, where are you? I love him, Doctor. I do love him.
There. I'm sure the father will be thrilled.
No. I mean, I love him, but I can't find him. I love him.
Hello, I'm Miss Julia Rager, and I will be assisting you in your pursuit of an orphanage to help with the upcoming adoption.
It's nice to meet you, Miss Rager. I'm Joyce.
It's very nice to meet you, Joyce. It's important that you understand the rules of your situation. Unwed mothers do not have a lot of choices, Joyce. The best thing is to give the infant up so that he or she can be adopted into a loving, stable family, and you'll be able to return to the church. Joyce, stop it. This really is what's best for the child. The child will not have access to any of your information. I know this is difficult to hear, but it's what will happen. Come on, Joyce. Sign the paperwork.
My dear Miss Rager, thanks for everything you've done for me so far. I'm writing to you now from the Home for Unwed Mothers. This isn't like home, but I can assure you I'm more than grateful to you for all the kindness you've shown towards me. The day I arrived here, I worked from 1 p.m. until 4:35 p.m. in the nurses' quarters, typing. Oh, my aching back. The girl they had there had retired, and from there, I was shifted to the nurses' dining hall, stacking trays, washing and drying dishes. I think it's time. Nurse! Nurse! Oh! You help me. It's a boy. Anthony. I named him Anthony in honor of Saint Anthony and all the favors he has bestowed upon me.
Anthony.
Yes, Anthony.
Anthony, I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
I can't believe it. I can't believe I have to give away my baby.
You must be strong now. Being strong now is what will get you through this. This is what is best for Anthony.
I know. feel so much pain. My heart is breaking.
Joyce, remember, you promised you would trust me.
The nuns. The orphanage.
Tiger, oh darn, you always get me, Anthony. I know, I'm the best. Shh, don't let the nuns hear us. We're not supposed to be goofing around inside. We're supposed to be in bed. I know, I'm just so excited. I mean, it's Christmas, the baby Jesus' birthday. I know, Anthony, it is exciting, but we don't want to upset Sister Teresa tonight. No. Are you afraid of her? A little. Don't worry, I'm here. And it's Christmas. Did you see all the presents under the tree? I hope there's a red bike under there. Michael? Michael? No. No. I'm all alone. No. No.
Michael is going to have a fine life. A very fine life. He's been adopted.
No, he went into the black hole.
Anthony, do you remember when I told you that your turn would come too?
Yes.
Do you remember what I told you?
That I had to be strong.
That's right, Anthony. And now, it's time for you to be strong.
No, I don't want to go.
It's time to be strong. Anthony, I need you to come with me.
Time to be strong? He is strong. He's just afraid. He's afraid of losing his family and friends into that black hole. We're both afraid of going into that black hole. Don't you understand? Why don't you tell him? Explain it to him so he won't be afraid.
Tony, I need you to be strong. Remember? Hello, Anthony. Anthony, this is Fred and Diane Demings. And these nice people, they want to adopt you. Do you know what that means? They want to be your parents and give you a real home. Something we can't give you here. Anthony, are you afraid to go?
Hi, Anthony. I'm Diane. I know you're scared, but believe me, we don't want you to be afraid. In fact, we love you and we want to take care of you.
That's right, Anthony. You know, we got a great house, got a big yard you can play in, and I understand you like tricycles. Especially red ones. So how's that sound? Good.
Tony, you okay?
I'm fine.
Yes, Tony. And he is now too. He gets to call those people Mom and Dad. And Mr. and Mrs. Demings know, thanks to Miss Rager, that Anthony really likes to ride bikes. Especially red ones.
Wow. How'd you know?
We know these things.
past far behind me. I've come a long way on my own until I heard their voices calling me home. I hear my demons calling like a lover left behind. It would be so easy to go back in time, back in time. And in the night I hear them calling, but I will not be afraid. I've come too far to sell my soul in trade. I won't be swayed. I won't be looking back when the red leaves fall, when the red leaves fall. I keep my eyes on the road before me and watch the signs along the way, never doubting where I am today. I hear my demons calling like a lover left behind. It would be so easy to go back in time, back in time. And in the night I hear them calling, but I will not be afraid, 'cause I've come too far to sell my soul in trade. I won't be swayed. I won't be looking back when the red leaves fall, when the red leaves fall. I won't be looking back when the red leaves fall, when the red leaves fall. Yeah, I hear my demons calling like a lover left behind. It would be so easy to go back in time, back in time. And in the night I hear them calling, but I will not be afraid, 'cause I've come too far to sell my soul in trade. I won't be swayed.